Hello guys, MonkeyBot here, and today we're going to be continuing the conversation with Thrones of Decay. There's been a few rumours going around lately, a few leaks going out, and I still have a few concerns for the DLC, considering what we've just got for the Shadows of Change update. But before we get straight into the video, I want to make a little apology that I've been a bit quiet on YouTube lately. I've recently changed positions in my job, so my hours have been a bit all over the place, and I've also had the flu a couple of days ago. So yeah, I've not been very well either. So a few things in real life have come up, but hopefully I can start making some more regular content for you guys. But first of all, I want to talk about the leaked content that has been floating around the Reddit page and the forums and on YouTube and everything. And it's actually the Dwarf start location. So there's been a leak that the Dwarf Legendary Lord, whoever that may be, I still think it's going to be Malachi Mackinson as well as a few other people out there. But there's actually been leaked now that his start location will be in Karakazorn, which is what I predicted. If you want to go see my Thrones of Decay prediction video for the Dwarf section, I'll have that link into the top corner in the video here if you want to go check that out. But if that leak is true, I think it's going to be great. I think it's a really good location for a Dwarf Legendary Lord, and it would make sense for Malachi Mackinson to be there. You can start looking up the lost technology of the Dwarfs up in the Mountain of Morn. I think it'll be great for his story as well. It'll put you up against so many factions that you wouldn't normally end up facing. For example, you'll have Kugath Plaguefather down in the south. You've got Greases, you've got Helm and Gorst. You've also got Grimgor back up there. So now you've got Grimgor versus a Dwarf Legendary Lord again, back how it was in Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2. And you've also got the Chaos Dwarves extremely close by, giving them that kind of rivalry. So yes, I do think it'll be a very good location for a Dwarf Legendary Lord to have that start location. But again, this is just a leak. This is just a rumor. It's not been confirmed by CA. But I do think we'll be hearing news very soon on this. I think we're going to get a teaser very, very soon, and maybe a trailer a week or so after that, as they normally tend to do it. I don't think it's going to be until the beginning of April. So Easter is coming up, and here in the UK we have a bank holiday on the Good Friday all the way to the following Monday after the Easter Sunday. So I would imagine that all of CA will be out of office for an extended weekend. But I do think after that, which will be around the 2nd or the 3rd, we'll probably get some sort of teaser, whether it will be posted on Twitter or posted on the Discord. We'll get some sort of short clip, maybe like 5 to 10 seconds as we always do. And then we'll likely get the trailer either on the Thursday or the following Thursday after that. And then the release of the DLC will be about 2 weeks after that. Probably around the 18th of April would be my guess for the actual official release date. And obviously the 2 weeks between the trailer and the release date, we're going to be getting lots of news. I hope it's going to go back to the quality of the Chaos Dwarfs. The Chaos Dwarfs news was very good. The videos were very lengthy. They were very descriptive on what we'll be doing as the Chaos Dwarfs. But for Shadow to Change, if you remember those videos, it was just like a pre-order ad with not a lot of information, and it was very lackluster. So I really hope they go back to the quality that they had in the Chaos Dwarfs for those videos. So to be honest, I just want CA to get it right this time, because Shadows to Change has still put a really bad taste in my mouth, and even though they kind of fixed it with Shadows to Change 2.0, introducing loads of new units into the DLC, which was great on CA's half, I still have that little bit of bitterness that I had from the release of Shadows to Change. And I think Thrones of Decay is CA's last chance to redeem themselves from that bitterness, which to me is a little scary. And to be honest, I'm still not really happy with Shadows to Change the way it's finished. I do think the Legendary Lords themselves and the factions that they're following still needed a big look at and a few changes here and there. The mechanics just felt very unpolished. The storyline felt very unpolished. The fact that none of the stories actually linked together at all was also a bit weird. So there wasn't really a rivalry. There were just 3 random characters doing their 3 random things. I do think it will be very easy to fix for Thrones of Decay. Like, you've got 3 amazing characters which are likely going to be involved with each other, particularly Tamikon and Elspeth. Like, they're literally rivals. It's like having a Grum the Punch DLC without Altharion the Grim. It's just weird. It's just completely weird. So I really do hope that they go back to that, so they have that connected rivalry and the connected storyline. I am also slightly worried that the Dwarf side of the DLC is going to be pushed to the side, because no matter what you do, the Dwarfs weren't really involved in the siege of Nuln, but they need to find a way to make Malachi Mackinson, or whatever legendary lord it is for the Dwarfs, they need to make them feel involved in that story and not just a side product of the whole DLC. We know that CA has a history of favouring one faction over the other when it comes to these DLCs, and there are very few DLCs that get both factions very well done. Warden and the Paunch, like I said, with Altharion the Grim and Grom the Paunch, that was a very good DLC where both factions got very well implemented into their campaigns, and they kind of need to bring that back now for Thrones of Decay. There cannot be an, quote, FLC version of this DLC. Like Mother Estankia originally felt like the FLC character for Shadows of Change, we cannot have that happen with the Dwarfs. They need to be on the same level as the other two factions that are being introduced in that DLC. No one can be left behind here, because once it happened, once the damage has been done, we know it's going to take forever to be fixed. They're not going to get worked on. And it's just going to be such a letdown if the Dwarfs are just pushed to the side and ignored completely. I'm not worried about Nurgle. I think Nurgle's going to have a great time in this DLC. There are so many potential units that could be introduced. There's so many changes that I think that will happen to the Nurgle faction that's already been brought up in the past. But I think Nurgle is a very popular race in Warhammer Fantasy. Not so much in Total War Warhammer, but in the fantasy setting itself. I think Nurgle's going to feel a little bit like Skaven was for Warhammer 2, where Skaven at the beginning was a little bit rubbish, to be honest, but it was clearly CA's favourite. They were pushing the content for the Skaven so much that Skaven become one of the most popular races of the franchise. And I think Nurgle's going to get that similar treatment here in Warhammer 3, where Nurgle's going to get so many legendary lords, so many DLCs, and it's going to become one of the most fleshed out factions of Warhammer 3. And I'm not worried about the Empire DLC. The Empire is always going to be one of the biggest sellers for the Total War franchise, so I'm pretty confident that they're going to put a lot of effort into making the Empire side of the DLC very good. Yeah, it's just the Dwarfs I have a bit of a concern about, but let's hope that CA can pull themselves together and make sure that the whole DLC and the whole package is really strong and performing as it should be. And that's going to be it for this video. In the next videos that I'm going to be producing, I'm going to be talking about all of the units that I think will be going into the Thrones of Decay DLC. We've got an updated content chart that came with the Shadows of Change, so I'm going to go on that basis where we'll get an additional Lord and Hero for every single race. I think around 5 units for each race as well, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to go through each of the races and talk about the units that I'm expecting to see. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below what you're excited about Thrones of Decay, what are your concerns for Thrones of Decay, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.